Hello there and welcome to Mr. Iyer's Digital Dialogue. We are all about using technology to solve everyday problems. And, of course, your host is none other than Mr. Iyer himself, an expert in all things SaaS and the digital world.
Welcome to the next episode of the Fractional series.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Mr. Iyer's Digital Dialogue, where we dive deep into the world of fractionals, transformation, leadership, and beyond. Today, I have the pleasure of hosting someone with a unique blend of technology and product management expertise. With over 20 years of experience, my guest today, Hari, has worn many hats, from leading teams at Cerner Corporation to co-authoring the OWASP Testing Guidebook. Hari's entrepreneurial journey is nothing short of inspiring, having successfully bootstrapped two ventures, HAPLO, a SaaS platform revolutionizing commercial real estate in Bangalore and Singapore, and Studio NAVAKA, a consulting firm focusing on ideation and product management. Hari is also an educator and a mentor. He has a passion for business modeling and teaching at prestigious institutes and incubation centers. Not to mention his educational YouTube channel in PV. He is on the verge of releasing a new book on ideation, which promises to be a valuable contribution to the field. So without further ado, let's dive into Hari's wealth of experience and insight as a fractional chief technology officer. Welcome, Hari.
Thanks, Mahesh. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, brilliant. So maybe just talk about yourself. What have you done at earlier days of Cerner and what roles you have shaped up as a technology leader?
So I'll give you two turning points in my life. The first turning point, like everybody, I'm from Vizag in Andhra Pradesh, India, and I finished my education and my friend was in Bangalore. He said Bangalore was the place to be. So I packed my bags. He convinced my dad that I should come here, and I came here in 2001. And I joined Infosys through a consulting firm. And I was there for 1 year. And I don't know why at that age, I realized, or that realization came, that I'm not fit for services companies. I think that was the first major breakthrough in my life, if I look back at the 22 years of my journey. I quit and joined a small startup in those days in a healthcare platform. And that's how I got an opportunity to join Cerner in 2004. And Cerner changed my life. Cerner, I joined as a test engineer. Everybody was doing development and everything those days. Tester was considered a second grade job. And I love those kind of challenges. If you tell me, Hari, you can't do this, trust me, I'm going to go back and fight and make those things happen. So that's my testing journey started. It was very fortunate for me. I got amazing opportunities in that. That's when I started contributing to OWASP, the Open Web Application Security Project, and I was part of the first two guidebooks. That organization became very big now. OWASP is too big right now, and every web financial company or every bank, to put it in a simple way, waits for the top 10 vulnerabilities what OWASP publishes every 2 years so that they can get ready for any attacks or things. So that's my first turning point. And when I joined Cerner, my first boss gave me, I always used to tell him, one day I'll be a CEO and all that stuff. So he gave me an opportunity to change my line of function and said, Hari, you're starting a new team. Why don't you go and start? You always wanted to do something. And that's been my game changer. So built consulting team, then did sales, then did pre-sales. I mean, all these things put together. And finally, after 12 and a half years, I hung up the boots. I said, I'm going to.
So excellent. What are the key lessons did you learn during those 12-year tenure that has influenced your approach to technology and product?
More than technology and product, Mahesh, it influenced me how to look at people. Even today, I learn. All of us talk about technology, how to incorporate technology, how to build winning products. Everybody talks about it. But the first thing what I realize is, how do you deal with people? Because in healthcare, when I was doing implementations across Middle East or Europe or US or for Cerner, I used to see the resistance. All nurses are senior people, right? I mean, about 50s and everything. They're so reluctant to use technology. And how do you make them use technology? So people first and then technology later. But I know the shift is happening now. People know about technology, but the new trends which are coming also are very difficult. People initially said UPI will not work. Then it worked. Now everybody has a bank account linked to their phone. How people use technology becomes more important. That's one thing. And second, for me, is how to manage conversations. That was a very important thing. I was rigid at times, and I know I hit my lowest points when I had disagreements with my organization and my boss. But I went for a coaching for 1 year, and that changed my entire life. Everybody said it, and I used to have it on my WhatsApp status since beginning. I'm changing the world step by step. But last 20 years, the world changed me step by step. So that's
Right.
underlying point for me.
Excellent, excellent. Let's talk about your fractional. What made you, I mean, I asked this question to all the fractionals. Why fractional? Why not full time?
Honestly speaking, I didn't know the word fraction. So when I started as an entrepreneur, I wanted to do something very different from health tech. So my first product was a Cube Now, which was a co-working SaaS platform. After selling for 2 years, I understood, fortunately, again, unfortunate, I will say fortunate, I said, I don't think co-working is going to make it big in India. I don't know why that happened, because of my market research or whatever it is. And I was slowly looking at transitioning into commercial real estate because around the world, Mahesh, the technology penetration in commercial real estate is less than 10%. So I would like to be a big fish in a small pond rather than be a small fish in a big. So that's why I went into commercial real estate. And fortunately, we got an opportunity. I didn't have money. Everything is bootstrapped for a cube now. So I put in all of my PF gratuity and everything. One client was looking at something very different than traditional commercial real estate platforms. So I went to his office. He said, tell me, sir, what do you do? I said, I don't do anything. And I drew my idea on the board. And after the 2-hour meeting, he called his finance person and said, please take his details. Sir, how much should be transferred? Please let him know and he'll transfer it by you. So that's how we got the opportunity and we started building it. COVID came. So it got stuck. Very unexpectedly in 2013, one of a client whom I was talking to for the co-working software, he said, Hari, we are wanting to build, you understand real estate. We are trying to build a PropTech platform for, fractional real estate. Do you know anybody who can come, not too expensive, but they can come and help us build? We need experience. I said, sir, if you don't mind, I'll come. Hari, please come tomorrow morning, and he put the phone down. That's how I got in, and I did a stint for 10 months. I didn't know the word fraction. I was just saying I'm consulting, right? If I knew, probably I would have put it as fractional that time. And that gave me a good understanding. I said, hey, while building HAPLO, if I can build on my dream, which is like this kind of organization, why don't I do these consulting for startups? Because I've been in the startup ecosystem for a long time. I've been associated with Head Start from the day one it is launched, 2006 or 17 years now. So I've been with the ecosystem for a long time. Why don't I do that? That's how by that time I understood there is a word called fractional. People are doing fractionals. That's how my LinkedIn got updated to fractional CTO and product management stack.
Excellent. I know fractional world is very different than, typically a CRO fractional might be different, a CMO might be different, a CIO might be different. But CTO, I always believe requires, hands-on, deep hands-on approach.
Correct.
How do you manage multiple clients and still be hands-on, managing the gigs?
I would become quite famous if I say this, or people might like me, or people might not like me. I might not get new projects. Every technology is built on the same fundamental principle, right? If you go back to you look at net architecture, you look at anything, if you go back, the roots are all your C++ kind of core platforms, which have become much more customized to the new age technologies. I don't need to spend time on syntaxes and which language are you using, because everything works on the similar kind of framework. But it's like I'm speaking in English, you are speaking in Telugu or Hindi, and somebody is speaking in Chinese or Korean. It really doesn't matter. The roots are all, we are human beings. The same way, technology, if you look at it, the roots are all same. Your architecture remains the same. It's just that as time goes by, as technology is advancing, things lot change. So you need to only keep abreast of those things. The foundations, fortunately, are laid. Right now, I'm doing 3 different projects in 3 different domains. One is a market entry strategy into Australia. One is a health tech platform. One is a fintech. So 3 different things I'm doing. But for me, from these health tech and fintech, health tech content domain, fintech, I learned it when I did the other gig. Technology remains the same for me. Right? All I need to look at is how you execute and how you do it. And that's where my strength comes.
We spoke briefly about, the managing multiple clients. So what do you see as the biggest challenges facing CTOs today, especially in the fractional space, and how do you address them?
Openness from potential clients. So what happens is, Mahesh, at least in India, what I realized is you have a little bit of resistance from a CTO perspective. Why? Because they want you to be on board. Not only in India, I'm part of quite a few fractional groups across the globe. And everywhere I see, we want a fractional CTO, CMO, CXO, but we want in our particular city. It's a remote. I mean, the job is remote, but the person has to be in their city. I don't know how difference does it makes, right? But for them, psychologically, for them, probably time zones or something. That's why I don't look at American market or something. I look at Asia Pacific, which is much more convenient for me. Australia, Singapore, Vietnam, these work very well, and India, of course, works very well because I get up early, and so the time zones really don't. But the biggest challenge is organizations who are wanting to look at fractionals, who have this kind of skills, who are solid experience, but come at a fraction of a cost. You have to be open to let them work from anywhere. So if they're not meeting, design your agreement in such a way that it's goal based so that it becomes easier for you. Otherwise, yeah, that's the biggest challenge I see fractionals. Wherever you post yourself, that's the thing which comes back.
Then automatic question to you will be the metrics, right? I mean, as a fractional CTO, what metrics or KPIs do you use to measure the success of your work with clients, and how do you ensure alignment with their long-term goals?
So I do two things, Mahesh. One is the way I design my agreement, right? So one other thing is the moment you say fractional, because the word is not too frequently used, people think you are a consultant. So consultants, you bring them per day, I pay you this much, come and do my work and go, you tell the work. But the way I design my agreement is, here is my full cost for your project, whatever you're telling me. Here is, let's say, $120. This is the full cost for the year. 25% you pay me as a retainer, and remaining 75% comes in as my goals and expectations. And I will do the goals and expectations before I start the journey. And once the agreement is signed, they know, because I know if somebody is building, Hari, we are looking at a healthcare application which goes into this. I understand how that application works and what is the market size, be it America, be it India. I have the metrics, I know that. And I look at, we are in this phase. By the time we hit 12 months, this is the goal. And I design the goals in such a way that every month I get more than the 25%. So I'm part and inclusive of the team, so they can hold me anytime responsible. And if they don't like me, also they can let me go. So I'm giving them both the flexibility.
You work with different industries, right? Across healthcare and real estate. Technology is different. How do you quickly adapt your technology strategies to industry that you're not familiar with?
I will not jump into anything without doing my homework. I'll give you a very different project, what I'm doing right now. I'm helping set up incubator in my hometown, Vizag, for only rural entrepreneurship. Now, when I say rural entrepreneurship, it is not, it has to be involved with technology. Okay. Now, what the parent organization of the incubator, Gramina Incubation Center, what they call, has been doing rural development work in Vizag and surrounding areas more than 50 years. And they work with about more than 150 to 200 villages. Let's say Mahesh has an idea to build some technology to help agriculture, agri-tech kind of a startup. Actually, I can give you references. There's one amazing one in Vijayawada, one amazing in Bangalore, which we're talking to. They are already at about 50 million, valuation. They're coming from small places, but the impact is rural tech. So what we tell these entrepreneurs is, come to our incubation center. We have access to your test bed, which is this 150, 200 villages. And any problem you can think of to solve in a rural area, you can see it here. So test it out here, partner with us, and we help them through. This organization is also associated with MITI, so they have the government Startup India funds to invest in rural tech startups. So everything you have to get to where you need to go. So all you need to do is come here. So that's very different. Again, I did my market research and realized, here is an interesting fact, Mahesh. Do you know how much of GST contribution comes from rural side in India?
Also,
How much do you, okay, I'm talking about the recent publication on Ministry of Finance. Believe it, I think 59 or 61% of GST comes from rural areas and only 30 to 35% comes from urban areas. Yeah. Uh, and not my number. You can look at on the Ministry of Finance this year's report. After the budget, they'll publish the report. So this shows you that there is a lot of power in building the infrastructure and economies for the rural side. And the best part is this is a completely untapped market, not only in India, Africa, Europe, and also US. People, when I talk about US, people get startled because people look at US as New York, Washington, Atlanta, Houston, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and California and LA. But that is only 20% of America. The remaining 80% is so vast and they have so many things you can solve. And if somebody is building for American market, that's a different story. But the potential of solving ground level problems. We are always running behind. I'm doing this, I'll do AI, I'll do this, I will do that in big problem solution, which is a minuscule of people are forgetting the whole world exists, not only America and India or Singapore or Dubai, but the whole world exists. Saudi is just calling people to come and start up with them, and they will give you life for 1 year to help them solve their problems through technology. So there is so much to do, and we are running behind. I'll build a SaaS for this. I'll do this. I'll build an AI app for this. We are stuck there. If you open up a little, there's a lot.
since you mentioned AI, I will not, you know, hesitate to ask you. I open this Pandora's box and tell me, what do you see as a future for AI? Where do you see AI is heading? And you being in technology as a CTO, what role does AI play in current scenario?
Again, become notorious. Like recently, I've become notorious on a Facebook group for calling out somebody the F word. AI is an evolution. So what happened in Y2K, right? When Y2K was coming, people said the computers are going to crash and everything. So all the managers saw a lot of my seniors, everybody migrating to US and like settled and everything. Y2K came and went. Did you see an impact? No, you did not. Now, AI basically goes back to the foundations of the large language models, right? And there are only few companies who have the money, capacity, and the power to build it. And everybody has to hang on to those LLMs to create their own LLMs. So, for example, I'm talking to a potential client in the UK. They're doing amazing work. So what I don't want to name the company, but what they're doing is they're creating course contents for healthcare workers across NHS. Okay. So this came to me last month and they sent me, I took some time, sat down and did it. So in one of that requirement, he said, Hari, we want to incorporate AI. But Papa, if I see what they have done till now, they're doing manual labor. I mean, for example, if somebody is teaching a course on first aid, they have the speakers, voiceovers for the video, and somebody has to write the script, somebody will review it and give it to the person who wants to contribute to that particular course. Now, he came back to a simple problem. Hari, we are using this tool and this hosting services, but I want a lot more to be done. I said, look, you have to first streamline many of these aspects coming together, and AI will help you in these areas. First thing, you forget about voiceovers anymore because that n number of softwares which can do voiceovers and also give you subtitles. Captions.ai, for example, that does it. We need not bang our head on anything else. Next is the course content creation. So what we will do is we will build a model in such a way that whenever we can use ChatGPT for that, we will curate a course and we will design the framework. So whenever people give the input, it puts together a script for them to read it out during. And now for me to customize ChatGPT, that is the skill what is required. Everybody is wanting to do AI, but everybody is forgetting that the core skills need to be developed for AI. Yes, we are also seeing in news, jobs are going away. Now programs can be written by, ChatGPT and everything. Remember, there's one thing common in everything, Mahesh. ChatGPT, you have to tell exactly what you want. If you say, suggest me a script for this, it will give you a random script, but that's probably not your style. I mean, I initially 1-2 videos I tried doing through ChatGPT. I said, you know what, ChatGPT, I have no time to train you. Rather, I will speak my own language. And I started writing my script, which becomes more easy. So AI will have a future, but the adoption of AI will take the next 10, 15 years. I don't think anybody need to worry. Like how when Y2K came, we upgraded ourselves. Now we have to upgrade. I will not even call upgrade, just adopt. That's about adopt to the technology.
Very, very interesting touch on AI. I like that. Your upcoming book, let's talk about that, on ideation
Uh-huh.
is highly anticipated. Could you give us a sneak peek into what the book will cover and what readers can expect from it?
Absolutely, Mahesh. So the whole idea, okay, before I talk about the book, I want to tell you something. I am a firm believer of sustainable business, right? I make the statement. I hope I'm reaching out to a few investors for HAPLO so that we can push it a little bit. But I mean, we are looking not a lot of money, about 20-25 lakhs. But still, I'm not a big fan of valuation based companies, and we have seen the history. Now, my simple example to all the audience who are listening to your podcast: Shark Tank America, right? Dragon's Den, which is its parent template, Shark Tank Australia. Tell me if any of the judges who are sitting there have built their company on funding. No, nobody. And we are running behind them for investments because they are sitting as billionaires there. Now, what I am saying is, stop in this valuation game. You are tiring yourself out by begging, borrowing, stealing, and trying to build features fast so that you can catch up with the competition. Stop doing that. Be it your individual. I mean, there are few people. I know few ideas which got sold for millions, but the founder is absolutely senseless. Right? I'm sorry. I mean, I know those people, so I can make the statement. They don't have any idea what they're talking about. It is just that the luck played a role. But it doesn't play for everybody, and it doesn't repeat. Luck doesn't repeat the second time in these kind of things. My whole objective of the ideation book and my YouTube channel is to help people understand you can build sustainable, profitable, and large businesses without raising money, as long as you are committed to the idea and you can plan accordingly your finances. You shouldn't start a company saying 2 years time I'll be driving a BMW X5. That's unfortunate. That's what is happening, and people see that. As they have seen somebody posting on Twitter the parking lot of Zomato, Pudipeddi Goel, I mean the Aston Martins and everything. So everybody was commenting, my 6 rupees platform fee, my 20 rupee delivery fee, or you're asking what. But you have to understand, the guy had an idea and he had the guts to build it, and he went IPO, right? So he's not playing around. He's making money. Definitely, everybody is here to make money. I want to be a billionaire. You want to be a billionaire. I'm saying there are sustainable ways to do that, which will give you a launch.
Correct. Well, I
That's
agree.
what the book focuses on, predominantly on that. Mahesh, how many people, entrepreneurs, actually make use of the government funds? Did you know that if you have a startup, the Indian government will give you up to 1 crore? I'm in phases, not one day. With 1 crore, I'll do miracles here. I'll do miracles with 1 crore. So I'm saying, and the way they look at it is, you have to, first they'll give you some money. You have to show them the result. Second, they'll give you money. You have to show them the growth. Third, they'll give you in trenches. But by the time you reach 1 crore, you're self-sustaining. Absolutely, you're generating them. This is the objective of that book, to bring light on people how you can build businesses without raising funds or getting into a loan debt, and without credit cards. I mean, credit cards are okay. I max out my credit cards every 3 months. So that's a different story. But yeah, that happens. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
focus of the
I'm building a platform called The Hustle for fractionals, influencers, and content creators. And I've realized one thing. I agree with you, Hari, that we don't need large team. I built it
yeah,
on my own. I have
correct,
seen companies, startups hiring a soldier of technical team and
correct,
team,
correct,
and they are investing so much money in that. But ideally, you
correct.
don't require it. It's just a fancy way to say that I have a large team and I have a big company running. Correct? So I want to go one step ahead to from book. Let's go to your teaching. You spent a lot of time in mentoring and teaching a business modeling at various institutions and incubation center. What drives your passion and for education? And I have a passion for education, so I can talk a lot. So I would like to know your thought on that.
I come from a family of teachers. My dad was a teacher. My dad's elder sister was a teacher. And I think it quite naturally come. My brother also taught for a long time, right? And he was good at analytics. So for the competitive exams, he used to teach for, you have that analytic, 4 different diagrams. What is the fifth diagram? I don't know the term. I can't solve that problem. For heaven's sake, I don't know. So he's very good at that. So he used to teach it. Now he's retired. He doesn't teach anymore. But I, I think that comes from the blood and opportunities I got. My first teaching assignment formally, teaching in the sense, I never got paid. I get the travel expenses. That's about it. Was for Iyer Calcutta. So they were doing a 2-year program. 1 year full-time postgraduate diploma in healthcare management. They discontinued it in 2018 or something. They did 3 batches. So they reached out to Cerner to see if there was anybody who can teach a particular module. And my boss was, unanimously said, Hari, you go ahead. So that was my first one. Then constantly I got one connect, and I for 2-3 years before COVID, I was doing the same thing, a full day workshop on business modeling or business model canvas and all that stuff for PSG College Coimbatore. And then another connect came to me, Niti Mangalore. I did twice. And once I did for Gujarat University. There was a program with UNICEF and Gujarat University were trying to look at entrepreneurship at school level. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th students. And yeah, I should have made this point. That was a very, very big eye opener for me, because I usually start my session with the question to my audience: How do you get ideas? The only one person in my 5-6 years of these experiences of teaching was an 8th standard girl, Hindi medium girl. She said, "Aata hai sir." That's the right answer. You get ideas by observing. And this is an 8th class girl. And that opened my, I was hesitant. Hey, 8th class ke liye, what will I teach? Entrepreneurship or ideation or whatever. But I said, let me take it as a challenge. And when I got into the call, my next big challenge was, Hari, we have 5 Hindi medium schools who are on the call today, right? And dude, we Hindi mein gali aata hai, but I can't get into technical Hindi. But believe me, I went so smoothly. I was surprised about myself, saying that, oh, okay, I can speak Hindi now. So that drives me to teaching. And now I translated all the teaching into my YouTube videos. And that's how the passion comes. I think it's from family.
3 serious questions before we go to the fun part. One of the serious question I want to ask you is your vast experience in product management. How do you see the future of SaaS evolving, particularly niche or any certain commercial real estate segment?
It will take time for SaaS to really get imbibed into real estate, because the operations are really traditional. The biggest challenge, I will tell you why real estates don't adopt technology. I'll give you the biggest example. Why? I'll give you a simple question. You have this app, why my home adda, or the gate management, apartment management.
My Gate.
Thank you. Yeah. So My Gate. So they sell to apartments. Apartments have, I will use for discussion purposes, educated people, the class of you and me, who are staying in an apartment or a villa or something. People don't pay for the service. They get about 10 paisa or 20 paisa or something like that from each house, because it has to go through the maintenance, and people are not willing to pay for technology. Now, commercial real estate has a different thing. What people need to understand while solving is, there are 500 competitors for me in Bangalore, in the area what I live, for what I'm doing. But how am I doing a little better than them? Everybody, even for SaaS, you go pricing per person or per feature, per this thing and all this stuff. It does not work in commercial real estate, because commercial real estate, their margins are very low. We think that the people who have a big DLF guy has millions, definitely DLF guy might have, but I'm talking about the remaining 80%. They don't have a lot of money in commercial real estate. Their operating margin is very, very less. And the moment you say, I will charge you based on your operating margin or per your square foot, the whole thing collapses. So you need innovative ways to price so that the penetration goes up. So until then, the challenge will be there for either SaaS or client server based or whatever. For example, visitor management, all the softwares you can go. You can search on Google. There's a fantastic Hyderabad company also. I had a conversation with them once. Everybody pricing is for a visitor per month. You go in that approach, it's very difficult to crack that market. You need to look at it in a different way.
Let's talk about your new pet peeve, YouTube. So, so why did you jump into YouTube, and what are you planning to do with that platform, and what is your outlook to it?
I didn't jump in 2 months ago. I jumped in 2017. If you go back and scroll down my YouTube channel, the first one I started with co-working spaces software and what is it, what is co-working and all that stuff. I stalled it, and over a period of time, at least last year. So how the whole thing came about is last year, I have a friend in Chennai, Cuba. He posted on Facebook, we are doing a 100-day project. Anybody is interested to sign up. Yeah. So what is this 100-day project? So every year, New Year, you have New Year resolutions. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to gym and this, that. It happens on the first day. First day, it doesn't happen because you're hung up from 31st night. It starts on second day, third day, back to normal. So I came up with a very good idea saying that, guys, September 23rd to December 31st is 100 days. So whatever goals we set for the year, let's try to accomplish them. So about 15 of us came together. And I said, I want to increase my reach. So I want to write on LinkedIn for every day. I wrote for 97 days. 3 days I couldn't write in between because of a death of a family. I really couldn't get to the laptop. I wrote for 97 days. The mileage I got was very less. Then my research continued. Then I'm seeing a lot of articles and everything, how video content is more appealing than somebody reading a book. Today, even if you go to a remote village, that's why I have few of my videos in Telugu. Even if you go into the villages, people might not read. They might not have access to the book or the article or the link. But if a YouTube short comes out, they might see it and it might impact them. That is what made me take up YouTube seriously. But right now, I'm looking at building meaningful content and taking it, making it more educational. So I want to add on with webinars, coaching, and and podcasts. But my podcast will definitely have only people who have built something with their own money without raising any fund. So that's because 80% of us are like that, including me.
Correct. Correct.
That's the
Absolutely.
goal of YouTube channel. That's how I jumped into it, because I thought if I do a YouTube short, I was very shy. How can I communicate in 60 seconds? How can I communicate in 60 seconds? YouTube gives 90 seconds though. No, YouTube gives 60 and Insta gives 90. But then I realized people said, Hari, if you put on YouTube, nobody sees. You should put on Insta. Okay. So for Insta, I had to practice for 90 and 60. So now I do it an average of 57 to 59 seconds, and I'm connecting it back to a bigger video so that I can share the whole story there.
That's amazing, Hari. I had fun. One last question and advice basically for the future fractional CTOs you want to give. And then we'll go to the rapid fire. So what is the advice to the upcoming fractional CTOs?
I don't want to give any new thing apart from Archita, who was your last host. She's absolutely right in one thing. Full-time job guys trying to do fractional CTO, CXO, CMO work just to test the waters. Okay? Please, please, please don't do that, because you have a comfortable job. Focus on your job. If you don't try to mess up with somebody else's life because you have a 9-to-5 job, not 9 to 5, 9 to 9, and if you can't give time to them, the whole team of fractionals who quit their comfortable jobs and jumped in will get impacted. Because if one person has this bad experience, fractionals, we know we have to come and on your Sunday or a Saturday. That's it, gone. No, we have a life, this thing. So the kind of people, if you really want to do fractional, yes, I don't mind. When you have a job, sign up a client, but quit your job and focus and start building your business. But please don't do this as a side gig, because it will have a huge negative impact rather than a positive impact, not only for you, but for everybody around who's in that line of business. So I think we should make it a mandatory that you can write a fractional CXO, CMO, CTO on your LinkedIn or present yourself only if your last employment has ended.
On that note, Hari, you need to be sharp now. It is rapid fire. So you don't have much time. You just have to answer in one word or quicker the faster.
Sure. I'll try.
Let's go. What's the one tech gadget you can't live without?
My iPhone.
If you weren't in tech, what career would you be pursuing?
My dad always wanted me to get into LIC or Andhra Bank or something. Probably I would have been there.
Coffee or tea?
I'm a coffee guy. Rather, if you give me one more choice, I'm a beer guy. But otherwise, For the benefit
Coffee.
of audience, it's coffee.
Coffee. Okay. What's your favorite productivity hack?
Driving.
Excellent. What's the last book you read or a book you recommend?
There, you asked me a very wrong question. Can we break it into two parts? Every person who's wanting to be an entrepreneur, please don't miss reading Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid by Professor C.K. Prahlad. He's my God. Unfortunate for me, by the time I got chance to travel overseas, he went away. But if I had a chance, I would have definitely made an effort to meet him. If you are in a corporate setting and you are wanting to build your career in corporate, go up the ladder and things like that, what got you here won't get you there. That's a Bible. And as Achita mentioned again, I can't re-emphasize. I want to re-emphasize on the same thing. If you're taking up any new job, quitting your job, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a fractional, whatever, the first 90 days. These are the 3 amazing books you should not miss out.
Name one hobby that might surprise people. Your hobby. People don't know.
Don't want to.
Divulge a
That's an
secret.
interesting question. I pretty off, but I think I find solace in. I don't want to call it a hobby because it's my productivity hack too. Driving is something what really relaxes me and solaces me. And as a hobby, no, I have to. I drive, and apart from driving and thinking about what should be the next one, I've not spent a lot of time. Probably my blogging is something what people don't see. I've been writing since 2010.
One last. What's the best advice you ever received?
Very apt question. So when I was in my job, for 2-3 years, I struggled for a promotion. And my counterpart in Middle East, not my counterpart, he was the head of Middle East. So one day I was there in Dubai, we went for a drink and he said, "What's up, Mr. Hori? What's going on? I'm frustrated." I'm not using the names, but I'm frustrated. This is what it is. I said, "How do you know what? I came to this position in 20 years and my starting job was a pizza delivery boy in New York. Okay, he's an American. And he gave me one advice. Never, ever, ever look for recognition from outside. Recognize yourself." So what he meant was, for example, I'm wanting to become the vice president of a division, right? And I'm a director right now. He said, to recognize yourself in the sense, you operate as the vice president. Don't operate as a director wanting to become a vice president. Operate as a vice president. So that had so much profound meaning. That day I laughed it off. And I said, a few days later, I realized I sent him a note and I bought him a book and sent him saying, "Thank you so much. That is the most profound thing." So for anybody saying, "I will do it when I get there." This is something what we all, I'll do it when I get there. No, you are there today. Do it. So be there beforehand and don't wait for Mahesh to say, "Hari, you are the most awesome person I've met." No, you set yourself, you are the most awesome person. Then the other person will recognize. If you only had self-doubt yourself, "Hey, am I getting my promotion this year?" This I've seen in the corporate world. I mean, it happens everywhere. Right now that I'm an entrepreneur, I'm on my own. I don't care about those things. But still, people have a question, when will I get promotion? If I don't get promotion, I'll find another job. No, operate at the next level. That's the advice which had profound impact.
That was brilliant, Hari. Thank you very much for coming and joining us on this podcast. I appreciate all the time you gave us.
I really, really have to thank you, Mahesh. Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm here. Look forward for many more collaboration.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mr. Iyer's Digital Dialogue. If you enjoyed our conversation, make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. Stay curious, keep innovating, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, take care and keep making an impact.